हाँ जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम गाजी बिलाओ तो फ्याजी होनी ला मैं ख्याल आधा घंटा पहले पिछले जी वीडियो वो असर ख़त्म की थी जैसे कंपेन की थी पूरे इलाके हूँ आ गई मीटिंग हूँ वैरी असी त्रै जने मैं अरशद खान ते अमजद साहब असी त्रै बंदे जा रहे मीटिंग सारे जो कुत्ते गोरे काले पीले नीले जे खाते वोटां दे वो असन उन्होंने को थोड़ा थोड़ा एक मिनट का अद्धा मिनट का इंटरव्यू करना ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਯਾਰ ਦੇ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਕਾਰ ਕੀ
ਮੇਅਰ ਦਾ ਸਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚਾਰ ਮੇਅਰ ਖਲਤੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੋ ਚੁਣਨੇ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਸੀ 7 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਸੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੁਣਨੇ ਯਾਰ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਅਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਜੋ ਗਿਆ ਅੱਛਾ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਸੇ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੇ ਉਹ ਜਿੱਤੇ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕਦਾ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਜਿੱਤਦਾ ਤੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੋ ਰਹਿ ਵੈ ਸਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਜੋ ਅਸਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਚੁਆਇਸ ਕਰਨੀ ਯਾਰ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਿਕ ਅਪ ਕਰਾਂ ਯਾਰ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਜੋਗੇ ਅੱਛਾ ਹੋਵੇ जा रहे साढ़े कम्युनिटी जो अच्छा
जा रहे हो फिर मुझे सारा तुझे अक्सर देखते रहे वीडियो उधर ही आने सारे आवाम आ गई असा टाइम देते ने 2:30 बजे का तो 2:45 हो गया 2:48 बस आप बांधे थे आगे लगे हैं भाई बाहर बारिश लगी तो साथ बारिश का पता लगे जाऊँ समझ लगी बारिश से तो भाई मैं चाह सकती जितनी पोल लगी
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Thank you for coming. We're going to start off this afternoon. It's a little past 3. I wanted to give everybody time to settle in and meet and greet the candidates. We're going to start off with a prayer, and I'm going to invite Abu Bai to come say a little prayer, and then we're going to get started. Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies, and assalamu alaikum everyone. I want to welcome everyone to our forum. As we always do, we want to start out with a small prayer. I just believe that you start with the Lord's name, everything goes well. And today is going to be a very simple prayer, something that we pray multiple times every day in namaz, which is our daily prayer. That's the noblest deed that you can do. So we're going to start out with Surah Fatiha, which is also referred to as al-Kitab, which sums up the Quran. And we always start our prayer, as we all know, with the Surah Fatiha. So we'll start out with that. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen ar-rahmanir rahim maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Ameen. As we all know, that is the prayer that sums up the entire Quran. So may Allah guide us in the right direction. May Allah allow us to understand the gentlemen that are up here and the rest of the folks who are going to be speaking to us. Allow us to understand their platform and allow us to be able to make a good decision that is going to be for the best for the entire community. So once again, welcome, and let's get it on.
Thank you. So I have a schedule that I was going to start off with, and I noticed that we have some guests. We have special guests here. We're going to get to introduce them, and everybody's going to get a chance to meet them. The way that I'm hoping that this is going to flow is we're going to introduce our candidates and then thank everybody for coming. We're going to talk about the volunteers, but before we get into all that, I'd like to give an opportunity to the guests that are here, council members that are here presently. I'm going to hand the mic to you guys. I believe some of you are here up front. Some of you are current council members. Some of you are running. And just to give you an opportunity to say hi, and we wanted to thank you for coming and joining us today. So I'm going to start with you. Okay.
Great. Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Monica Peters and I'm currently the City Councilwoman for Ward 3, and I appreciate your support over the last 6 years. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve you all, and I am up for re-election, and so I hope that I get to serve you for another term. Thank you so much. Okay. And here's Amanda Cook.
Thank you, Monica. I'm Amanda Cook, and I'm running for City Council at large. I'm very grateful to be here with you today. I thank you for the invitation, and for those of you who supported me last year in my school board run, good to see you again, and I look forward to getting to know you and listening today. And Dr. Ghazi.
Assalamualaikum. Everybody already knows me, so I don't really need to make an introduction. But I'm glad that you invited me, and I hope all goes well today, and I hope I get elected into city at large.
Hi, my name is Sam, Sam Carr. I'm running for City Council at large. I am a new candidate, and I'm running for all the residents here in Highpoint, but I'm excited to be here, and I really appreciate your support come October. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Rizwan Badr. I'm running for City Councilman Ward 3. It's good to see you guys coming all the way over here, and thank you for all the candidates for just giving us this platform as well, and thank you for my committee to set up this, and I appreciate it. Hopefully everybody enjoys and we have some good talk today. Thank you.
So I'd like to thank the mayoral candidates for taking the time on a Sunday to come out here and talk to us. I believe this is the first time we've had a platform like this in the Pakistani Muslim community in Highpoint. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember anything ever like this happening, but special thank you to you guys for accepting the invitation from the volunteer group, for coming out here on a Sunday, dressing up, even though it's raining. I really appreciate it. The community is really appreciative, and I hope that this will be a good platform for everybody to get a chance to get to know you guys a little bit more. We've been getting a lot of questions from the community, who should we vote for the mayor? I'm just gonna put it really simple. And what I've been telling them is that's something that you guys have to do your research on, because everybody has their network, and everybody has their wishes for a candidate, expectations, stuff like that. So we were having conversation, and of course, this can still happen with different candidates about visiting the different masjids, the different mosques in the city of Highpoint. I believe there's 4 or 5 now. So what we thought about is, instead of going there, doing a rotation, having everybody come there on a different Friday to speak to the mosque, because I believe you're going to the churches as well. It's, it's something that you do in a campaign. We wanted to give the opportunity to the community to come meet everybody at the same time, have a conversation, get to know everybody, and then make a decision on, of course, how they're going to vote. That's all. That's why we're here. So I wanted to thank you guys, especially again. Thank you to the volunteers that helped set this up, and that's been spreading the word. We do have a couple of sponsors I need to thank. Desi Groceries, Apna Halal, and Papa Joe's for sponsoring the food today and some of the costs they picked up. Couple of housekeeping rules when we get started. It's going to be you guys are very familiar with this. This is my first time conducting this, but everybody will get an opportunity to answer the questions being asked, and we're going to go in a round robin rotation. Keep your answers as long as you want, as short as you want. I think 2 minutes should be pretty good for an answer, but that's kind of how we're hoping this is going to go. So before we get into the questions, I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to take a moment and introduce yourselves today to the community here. So I'm going to hand over the mic. Siddiqui, you're closest to me, so here you go.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for everybody who's here and they invite me. And first thing, thank you for all these things they did for me and they invite me. My name is Abdul Rashid Siddiqui and they call me Richard. And Richard Siddiqui, and I was here since 1983, and I've been working with my people in all these community and in a Highpoint. And it's still going to be working with these guys. And I really appreciate my community, Muslim community people who invite me here and who've been supporting me here for everything. And some things like Arshad Khan, Tanveer Iqbal, they've been pushing me and they've been supporting me from my back. And I'd like to thank you, everybody, and thank you for all these people. Thanks a lot.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? It's so great to be here amongst you all. My name is Cyril Jefferson, and I've served on City Council the past several years. I'm also a business owner here in the community and a former educator, but dear friends, most importantly, I'm a husband and a father. And so for me, the work I do is very personal. The values I bring to this race are very personal. So when I talk about wanting to see a strong economy where our small businesses are supported, when I talk about safer neighborhoods and streets so that our families can feel safe, it's because I come from a place in which that's the kind of city that my family wants to grow up in. That's the kind of community that's important for me to be a husband and father and ensure that we can build towards our city's future. And so my hope is that through today's conversation, through the conversations that we'll continue to have these next several weeks, we'll get to know each other. Because what's most important is that as we build this city, no one person does it as by themselves. No one person gets to be the single brain who figures everything out. How we figure it out and how we do it successfully is when we do it together. And so my hope and ask of every single person as we get into today's conversation and into this election is that let's partner together. Let's work together. Let's build the city that all of our families can thrive in. And I know that's something that we'll be really proud of. Thank you all for taking time to be with us.
Zaz, I want to say thank you. I know you've never put one of these together, but you did a great job. Good turnout. A lot of friends of mine are in the room. My name is Victor Jones. Background on me, I joined the Marine Corps right out of high school, served for 13 years. I'm a disabled veteran, but I've never let that keep me from working hard and trying to grow as a person, as a career. I now have 7 companies in Highpoint and a nonprofit. I help veterans come back to Highpoint and get reintegrated into our community here. And so that's kind of my passion. I love the business world. I've always been a business guy. I started my first company at a flea market when I was 13 years old, believe it or not. But my passion's business, and I ran for council in 2017. I've been elected twice now because I saw a stagnant economy. I saw a lot of empty buildings and a lot of aftermath from NAFTA when a lot of industries, furniture and textile, had a mass exodus of Highpoint. And I felt like we needed some CPR, not cardiopulmonary resuscitation, but city council prosperity resuscitation. And I felt like if we got a very forward-thinking council and mayor involved, then we start seeing prosperity return to Highpoint. And over the last 6 years that I've been working tirelessly for the city, we've seen that happen. We've seen jobs come here, and we've seen our public safety numbers get better and better year after year. We were down 4% 2 years ago to last year, and so far this year we're already down 6% from last year to this year. So I think we're moving in the right direction. We just got to keep going along that path and see Highpoint continue to prosper and grow to a city you can all be proud of. So thank you for having me.
Good afternoon. My name is Gene Kinnenmuth. I was born in Colorado, but learned to speak in Melbourne, Australia, which explains the accent. I also lived in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, for quite a few years. Learned to play cricket in Australia. Learned to excel at it in Saudi Arabia. But my main sport now is rowing, and I run a rowing program at Ocala Lake for kids of all ages and adults of all ages. It's Highpoint Rowing Club, and as part of this rowing club, we do 2 events each year which draw thousands of people to the city, spectators and participants from surrounding states. I think what you want to know about me is I'm also a father of 2 kids, Jack and Harry, 14 and 12. They play a little bit of cricket, not much. But they go to L&J Prep, and they kept asking me about the cricket pitch that was across the street. And I kept saying, I don't think that's a cricket pitch, guys. But I learned today it was a cricket pitch where the mosque is going in now. So we missed our chance to play some local cricket. But I got into this race because I've just seen what's going on in our public schools through my kids. They're both excelling, but their classmates are doing really, really poorly. More than half of them are failing. And as I looked more and more into it, that's the case across a lot of our public schools, especially here in Highpoint. And, you know, I was a latecomer to this election. I filed literally on the second last day. I tried to ask 3 other people to run for me. No one would step up. And whether I win or lose, I hope my message will resonate and be picked up one day in the future, because I just knew when I filed, my biggest regret would be not having a go if I didn't put my name in to try and improve things in Highpoint, because too many people have been left behind, way too many, and they've been left behind in one of the biggest booms this city has experienced. And I think we'll probably be talking more about that, Taz. I don't want to monopolize too much time.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you, guys. So while you have the mic, Gene, let's just start with you. And I'm going to jump right into the questions. Why are you the best person for the job?
Honestly, I don't know that I'm the best person for the job. But I think that if I'm not elected, the horrific discrepancies in this city will continue. The reason why I'm running is when I see these kids failing in our public schools, when I see the crime increasing on our streets, and the biggest increase in crime right now is amongst kids 12 to 16 years old. And when I see that there's a lifespan gap in South Highpoint of 17 years between people who live on the other side of Highpoint, that's got to be addressed. And I don't see those things being addressed right now. And when I really looked at what is the reason and what is the solution to all of this, is you look at the history. There's been a lot of discrimination against minorities in this country as a whole, and also here in Highpoint. And there are solutions to that. Most of the laws that have really hurt people on this side of town happened 50, 75, 100 years ago, the redlining, the Jim Crow laws and things like that. But the solution is not to just throw money at these issues through nonprofits. Nonprofits are a band-aid. They will temporarily help people, but they're not a cure. And when I look at learning discrepancies between white students and black students of 30% gaps in our schools, and then I see the home ownership gap is also 30% between whites and African Americans in this city, I see a correlation there and perhaps a causation. And so I'm running to try and increase home ownership amongst minority neighborhoods in this city through a $100 million loan pool. The city would not have to fund the full $100 million. It would just fund a fraction of that as the insurer, and then banks and nonprofits would come in and administer that. And I think if we can improve our home ownership rates by at least 10% in the next 4 years, we're going to see crime go down. We're going to see more pride in people's families. I grew up in a family. I watched my parents buy the lot that they purchased in Melbourne, Australia. As a 4-year-old, there was vacant land. Then I saw the pride as the house went up. My dad came home from work, knew he was paying off that mortgage. And I knew one day I wanted to be just like that. I wanted to be like my mum and dad. And kids who are born into generational poverty don't get that same sense of hope, that same sense of wanting to go to classroom to learn, to become a better person, to become a better citizen. And as a result, they act out in the classrooms, they act out in the streets, and the cycle continues for a long, long time. So if we can make one change, it's stop subsidizing landlords to rent out their properties, so those people who are renting them are stuck in generational poverty, and it stops to stop building massive public housing. We really need to just get people into their own home where they take control of their own destiny, and things will improve from there. Thank you.
So the question is, why am I the best person for the job? I love the simplicity of that question. I love the simplicity of the answer. Who out here owns their own business? Any other business owners in here? I know KK does. Any other business? But anybody that's ever owned their own business or been in management of a business knows that when you're hiring someone for a job, what do you look at? You look at the qualifications, experience, and their ability to perform the job. That person is going to be running your company. The mayor presides over the company that you all pay taxes to and provides safety and services here for your city. And so that has 1,400 employees with a $400 million budget. So you ought to be asking yourself, who would be the best to preside over that board? As I said, I've been to war for my country before. I've led troops through combat situations. I've run companies for 31 years. I have here in the Triad area 78 employees right here in the Triad across the country. Through my insurance firm, over another 200. I've been running 7-figure budgets since I was 26 years old. So this is not new to me. And I've also been on council for 6 years. I've got the most experience out of any candidate that's running for mayor. I've got a track record of getting things done for my constituents in Ward 5 and generally across the city. You know, I've got a reputation in this city of, if you need something done, call Victor Jones. I want to hold my city council accountable. I've had more town halls than any council member on the city council. I try to have at least 2 to 3 town halls every year. That's so you guys don't have to come to City Hall and sit there in the audience. I come to you and say, what are your questions? I get the police chief in there. I get head of Parks and Rec. I get people that get you the information. I do it based on the feedback I get from emails, phone calls, Facebook, Nextdoor, you name it. If people say, well, what's going on with Ski Club? I get DOT in there to give you the information. I try to be as transparent of a representative as I can be. My job as your representative of Ward 5 is to hear your concerns and take them to the council and say, here's what my folks in Ward 5 need. My role will change a little bit as the mayor. Not only will I have to oversee the whole city, you need a mayor that's good at working with people, with good people skills, and can combine 8 different council members and all their different backgrounds and all the different thoughts and ideas and make sure that we all work together as a team. In my time in the military, 13 years, I've worked with everyone from all over this country of different backgrounds, and we've been through some very tough stuff and formed some very strong bonds that will last the rest of my lifetime. I want that type of person as my mayor, as a taxpayer. I want the most qualified, experienced, and effective person to fill that job.
Taz, thank you for the question. In terms of what makes me the best candidate for mayor is simply you want a mayor who not only is going to keep working for you, but thinks about what are those big things we need here in our city? How do we recruit more jobs here to our city? And so as a city councilman these past several years, I'm thrilled to say that I led fundraising to bring $10 million into this city that has supported more than 500 entrepreneurs. That's 500 small businesses who give jobs to people throughout our community. Not only that, but it's created job training programs so people can learn skills and get our folks back to work. It's also been the kind of funding that's led to more health and addressing our issues regarding homelessness. Not only that, but I was the council member who brought the soccer team here, Carolina Core FC. Anyone here like soccer? Anyone here follow soccer at all? The work I did as a council member to go recruit the investors so they could invest the millions of dollars into our city, that then led to more money being invested into our city. That's the kind of visionary work you want from a mayor. Who can have that vision, the ideas, and then bring people together to do that? But not only that, what makes you best qualified is what's going to drive you every single day. Everyone's going to come during campaign season and make promises. Everyone's going to say during these couple of months what they will or won't do. And we have to figure out, are they telling us the truth? Are these just empty sort of dreams and things to get our votes? Can we trust them? And so what makes me best for the job is that I know you can trust me to do it, because I'm not doing it just for a seat. I'm not doing it just for an election. My family means everything to me. So I'm driven by a much higher feeling and a much higher power. God calls all of us as leaders, first and foremost, to take care of our homes. And so I want to build a city where each one of us feel like we can do what's necessary to provide for our families and keep them safe. That's why I'm the best candidate.
Hello, everybody. And why I'm the best candidate for mayor? Because I've been grew up here since 1983, like I told you before. Thing is, I've seen up and down in Highpoint. We used to see a lot of job opportunity in the Highpoint. Can work and make usually like they used to be working. they used to be support their family, because I have a family too. I've been working when I since was about 19, 20 years old. I used to work in these companies. There's a lot of company was here, like Holland Cotton Mill. They have some, the Thomasville Furniture Companies. All these company was here, and they have all the time, they welcome to people, come on, and we have jobs. But now it's everything going down, and everything's, a lot of people, I was a good candidate for my time is past, but for my kids and my kids' future. Because when they grow up, they don't have to run in other city or other country or other place to get the job. I want to be bringing here. I want to support here the people, jobless people. I want to support the people who are the homeless people. I want to support all these people. They are looking for the good future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. The next question I have, and Mr. Siddiqui, you can take this and we'll go back the other way. What do you know about the Muslim community of Highpoint, and what will you do for the Muslim community of Highpoint once elected mayor?
That thing happened not too long ago when I had the opportunity to come sit down in the mosque over at Allen J, and I had the chance to hear some concerns. So the things that I recognize that are problems that we need to address comes up as things that I identify with in our own community, which is the Black community here in Highpoint. So when the country of Sweden burned Qurans, that was a major problem. As a community, you all wanted to protest and walk down Main Street, and our government wasn't as supportive as that. I know that struggle because in 2020, when George Floyd was murdered, we had the same problem. And we had to force government to work with us to do that. That's the same support I would give you, because everyone should be able to peacefully protest. No one should be burning anyone's holy book. Because if anyone was burning Bibles, there'd be plenty of Christians having the same problem. What I also recognize and understand is that for you all, you're building many mosques and many centers here in the city. Much like churches have bells to call people to prayer, we know that your mosques want to be able to have something to call folks to prayer. And it's a very simple thing that I know we can do here in our city. We just have to ensure our government is prepared to be inclusive and care about what matters for people in the Muslim community. There's this other piece that I keep hearing more and more about, and I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I've never played cricket. But clearly as mayor, I need to figure out how to play cricket. But most importantly, I need to figure out how our recreational facilities can provide more spaces and more fields for cricket to be played. Right now, we have too many baseball fields and basketball courts that are not used. And we have them because here in America, we're used to playing those sports. But if our youth are not playing those and the grounds are just sitting there, we need to take those and convert them to cricket fields. I saw an example of this at Andrews High School over on McGuinn Street or McGuinn Drive. I used to teach at Andrews High School. And there was, I don't know if you all remember, there was like a big tower that had the letter A on it. And we actually had a field out there painted that we used for the marching band I used to teach. But every Sunday I would ride by and I would see people playing cricket out there. And I said, man, if they've got to come out there and play cricket, that means we need to have more fields for people to be able to play cricket. I think most importantly, ultimately, whatever we do, we have to be able to work together and be inclusive. There's just a couple more things I want to be able to keep in mind. As people move here into our country and they are small business owners, too many processes get in the way, too many barriers, too many unnecessary rules for people to be able to start businesses. There's no reason that you start your business and then government comes in and slows everything down. There should be a process for you to come submit your permit and right that same day be able to get a response back. There should be a process such that if people maybe don't speak English, we gotta have people up there who can help us translate that so business owners can get what they need much more quickly. Ultimately, a good economy only matters when every single business has what they need to succeed. And right now here in America, and especially I think in cities like Highpoint, we've got some work to do to ensure that we can be a better government to support businesses coming from all over the world. So those are the most important things.
I spent my entire young adult life around the Muslim community. My next door neighbors were Muslim in Raleigh, and we were best friends from elementary school, middle school, high school, and when we decided to go off to college, we were roommates all the way through through college. When he graduated, he moved back to Raleigh, so I was the only white guy at all the weddings and funerals and everything with the family and everything, and you know, I remember when Murad, Tark's younger brother, passed away a couple years ago. You know, they made sure that I came and it was with everyone and has always treated me like family. So I've been around that culture my whole life. Many of you know my campaign manager, Dr. Akir Khan. He's the one advising me on a lot of my decisions and initiatives that we think would be impactful for the city. And one thing I know about the Muslim community is they're very entrepreneurial. And if you want to open and succeed in the business world, there's a reason that businesses succeed in Highpoint or move to Highpoint. There's a company called Hot Shots that moved to this city last year. It's the #1 distributor of hot sauces in the country. I didn't know they were right here in Charlotte, North Carolina, but because of some politicians down there trying to do all these political stunts and blowing a bunch of money and all kinds of crazy things, their taxes and cost of living has gone so high in some of these other areas of this country that it becomes contradicted to do business there. There's a company I hung out with last week, Pure Roast. They just moved here from California. They looked at all these different areas in Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, and where they would take their company and relocate with all those jobs. Amazing company and amazing product, but when they finally got to Highpoint, they realized this was a safe area. The taxes were stable, the cost of living was stable. That's very important. I've watched people in this job now for 6 years, and one thing I've never tried to do is impress you. I'm here to do a job. If I impress you, cool, but if I do the job well, you should be happy. And what I want to make sure is that city services are done well. I want to make sure that we're looking at economic development opportunities, that we're partnering with our major companies and our resources, such as Highpoint University. I have a very good working relationship with all of the leadership at Highpoint University. Anytime that they have a need in our community, I want to make sure we're responsive. GTCC as well. We've got companies like Boom Sonic and all these other organizations that are coming here bringing 3,000 plus jobs here in the next couple of years. We've got to make sure that we remain attractive for companies like that, and that doesn't stop. If we can continue on the trend we are, we're going to see economic prosperity restored to what the glory days. You may not know this, but at one point in time, Highpoint was the wealthiest city in the country per capita, and it could be that way again. And the reason it was because of entrepreneurs and people that were forward-thinking, visionaries. And we have one of our biggest assets is our positioning. Geographically, the reason why Old Dominion's done so well here, you've got 311, you've got 74, you got I-85, you've got 40. We're halfway between New York and Florida. So it makes really good sense if you can get into a business that produces goods or services, you can ship all of that all over the country and be geographically put in a right position. So we need to capitalize on that. We need to do what the entrepreneurs did to make Highpoint the furniture capital of the world, but do it in other industries. We're not going to get back those industries the way that they were, just like we're not going to get Blockbuster back, guys. Things change, trends change, and we have to be forward thinking to capitalize on what's the next wave economically. And when that comes here, we're all going to prosper and all going to succeed. Thank you.
So, what do I know about the Highpoint Muslim community? Well, it's election time, and I know you're all asking, what do we know about the candidates? This is my first time meeting Mr. Siddiqui. Very nice to meet you. We've done a forum, the other three of us previously, and it's your typical election forum for the most part, you see right across America. We have Cyril, a man of faith, a Democrat, an African American, and we have Victor, also a man of faith. I know this, a white man who's a Republican. And for most elections, you all come here, you show up, you look at the ballot, which do I choose? Because one thing I know about Muslim voters is you are very independent thinkers. I don't think as a group you vote Democrat or Republican. I think you really want to see who is here for my issues. I'm not affiliated with a political party. That doesn't mean I'm your right choice. I hope it is, but it doesn't mean I'm your right choice. When you leave today, you're going to know that I stand for increasing home ownership on the south side of town, because I believe the American dream, which is to work a job and purchase your home and pay it off and raise a family, I believe that is the tide that raises all ships, the American dream. And that is what I want to bring to South Highpoint. What do I know about the Muslim community in Highpoint? As I said, I know you're independent thinkers. Last week I sent out, and some of you may have received this already, a letter to every single unaffiliated voter in Highpoint. And I personally addressed all the labels myself. And I've got the first 5 pages here of the names of those unaffiliated voters. And the highlighted ones, I'll read to you. Last name, Amir, Abbas, Akhtar, Ali, 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 Ali. There's a lot of Alis here in Highpoint. Another Ali, Ashgar, Awan, Ayub, Azmat. Keep going. Begum. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Bibi. These are the unaffiliated voters that have only just started to get to the beats. But here's the really interesting thing about that list. I'll read the first names. Myra, Amira, Shaheen, Wasim, Zara. Rina, Noor Ul Ain. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Another Zahid. I think you know where I'm going here. Dilshad, Ilshrat, Muktia, Sufrida, Tahira. What's the one thing in common with all these names? Anybody? They're all female. Your power is in the women in your community, because they show up, they register, and they vote in primary elections. Now, I skipped a few of the male names there, possibly your names, but you have an incredible asset. And Taz and I kind of got into it on Friday when he shot me a text and said, hey, just want to give you a heads up, Gene, it's men only. You did say that, but I think you said it's really mostly men coming to this event. And I shot him a text back and said, why? And he said, well, that's how it is in our culture. And that's okay. Next week, I'll be going to an event with the NAACP, which is for African Americans. Then we'll be going to another event called the Men's Huddle, which is for men as well. So it's okay to have these events. But know that you have an incredible position in this community of women that show up to vote. I cannot get through this primary without the support of the Muslim community. I can't. I'm an unaffiliated voter. There's no Republican Party that's going to put out an endorsement for me. There's no Democrat Party that's going to put out an endorsement for me. And in North Carolina, there's no unaffiliated party either. There's only unaffiliated voters. So I appreciate that you are all independent thinkers, and I hope that when it comes to showing up to that primary on October 10th, you will bring your independent thinking to the ballot box. Thank you.